There's definitely times if the scene is short, and I want to have fun, just to kind of go through them both. Yeah, one after one. Everyone knows it's one after one. Yeah, and there are longer sessions where we will have to record them in different runs because Daffy's a little bit more taxing on my voice than Porky is.
Situation is under control. There's no way we could screw this up. Boy, that almost blew up in our...
I've been a Looney Tunes fan since the early 80s, and remember breaking one of our family VCRs with repeat viewings of Daffy Duck's Quackbusters. However, the Looney Tunes legacy goes back all the way to the 1930s. I'm curious, does the torch you carry by being the voice of such iconic characters ever get too hot or feel like it adds additional pressure to your performances?
Yeah, I think there should always be that pressure to want to do a good job because, again, 90 years later, here we are, 2025, talking about these characters like they were just made yesterday. And I think that's amazing. I think that just, goes to show you that they've stood the test of time and that they are worth putting on the big screen. And there will be people that will come watch this movie. And I hope they'll watch it multiple times, not just once. And Mel Blanc will always be, and Chuck Jones and Bob Clampett, they will always be the original blueprint behind the character's existence and who they are and their personalities. I'm just a custodian, one of the lucky few that gets to, in a curated performance, bring it to a new generation. And I hope they will be entertained, but even more curious enough to look back and try to find some old cartoons that they want to see because of this film.
Candi, how about you?
There's always a pressure because there are so few Looney Tune characters that are women.
Yes,
and
unfortunately.
And I worked, and June Foray is not long gone from this
Right.
earth, maybe 5 or 10 years, and I know people who knew her, and I worked with her, and I want to respect her legacy. But I think the best way for me to do that, and people will always say, what do you think June Foray would think of your performance? And I say, the woman I knew would be pissed she wasn't here doing it herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she was an actor's actor, and she was
Right.
so vibrant until she was no more. And so for me, I want to bring them into the 21st century with a sensibility and more than a nod to the 1940s. And I think what helps me is the writing and the art and the direction of Pete Braungart, because his sense of humor and his sense of speed in all of these gags and stuff really resonates with sort of who I am at the core. But I do always try to, of all the people that have done it, and June Foray took over from Bea Benaderet on a couple of things. So for me, I try to keep to June, but make it me. She did not do Petunia Pig. So for me, I got to create it from scratch because they were not interested in the 1930s, 40s, sort of a Judy Holliday sounding, New York sounding pig. And I think, but there's always this thing where you feel like you're carrying the weight of a franchise on your shoulders.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
It's got to be huge.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, we're taking a chance and releasing this. And it's like, oh my gosh. And we're pouring this money into it. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No
I mean,
pressure.
for me, the Looney Tunes have always kind of transcended just being cartoon characters. They're kind of like the Muppets in that their personalities unto themselves, they're much larger than I think people sometimes remember them for.
Mm-hmm.
So sticking with Petunia, I have to imagine that playing the smartest character in the room is a lot of fun. My wife is a microbiologist, and Petunia's enthusiasm for her work reminds me a lot of stories I hear from her lab. How excited are you to reintroduce Petunia as much more than a love interest for Porky? And do you recall your first reaction to reading the script?
I am thrilled, first of all, that she isn't just a side chick and
Yeah.
that she isn't that, I want to come up, I want to do the little thing, that she isn't that kind of a deal. I'm really thrilled that she is great. I'm really thrilled that she's brilliant. I'm really thrilled that she gets excited about talking about the molecular structure of her flavor and
Yeah.
how simple Strongberry is, and that she could come up. I want you to know that I was never given a script.
Really?
When I worked with Pete, just like we did on Looney Tunes, I was never sent the script unless I was doing it from home. And then they'd put
Okay.
it into a chat, and then I would be reading it from Zoom. I'm better if I can print it out because I write ad libs and I write my jokes and I write.
I'm the same way.
It does. I'm sorry. Yeah. The best ad libs are all thought out. They're all, and you want to enhance, not add time. So I never got it. And so the way Pete directed me was scene by scene. And so he'd put it up and we would read through it. And then I would get to act. And then at the end, he would tell me X, Y, and Z. And there is a surprise thing, like we've talked about this, that I did not know, that after my great deadpan, that's not shatterproof glass, that he was going to shock other. Like, I just was like, damn, my one straight man joke lands, and then it's usurped by Daffy going, mother. And I don't know. I loved it. But yeah, I worked scene by scene, and I think that probably worked best for Pete's process because he had one guy doing two voices, and I needed like a sound. I needed to mix in. I was like, I needed to know if he was playing bass drum or if he was the brass or if he were trumpets. Like, where am I in the orchestra? And I didn't have to worry about that because Pete, Alex, the gang handled everything for me. It was pretty cool.
UFO! Time for the next phase of my plan. Nothing can stop me now. I hope that shatterproof glass can withstand the abuse.
Could you tell me about the process of recording your vocals for the film? Like, since you're the voice actor for Daffy and for Porky, do you record your lines for each character one at a time, or do you switch back and forth to kind of keep that momentum?
There's definitely times if the scene is short, and I want to have fun, just to kind of go through them both. One after one. Everyone knows it's one after one. Yeah. And there are longer sessions where we will have to record them in different runs because Daffy's a little bit more taxing on my voice than Porky is. And we kind of use that time to save all the screams till the end of the session because
Right,
I do have to talk the next day or even within the next hour from a session that we've wrapped. So, yeah, but I remember Pete saying 9 times out of 10, when he did put the takes together that he liked, in conversation with each character, that it worked.
I gotta tell you, I'm supposed to be all professional and everything, and I am, but I'm kind of freaking out right now. I'm so excited to be talking to you both. All right.
Those brownies that you ate earlier, they were spiked.
Got some gummies back there if you want them.
Brownies.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one is for both of you. When people see this movie and there's inevitably a demand for more, do you have anywhere in mind that you'd like to see these characters go, or perhaps another film genre that you'd put them in? I would love to see a feature-length whodunit with Detective Daffy, kind of in the vein of like a Knives Out mystery, but with Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
When you said a detective, I was like Knives Out or Sherlock Holmes on acid. Like, really, like,
Yeah.
that would be it. But everybody else in the film speaking with mid-Atlantic accents. Darling, that everybody's like stuck in the 40s. I think, where would you?
They did in the 90s, Casablanca, Carrot Blanca, right?
Yeah.
They did a spoof on that. I say do more spoofs of their own like properties. I think about 2 years ago, with the Warner Brothers social media team, they kind of took an idea that I had been doing on my on my own Instagram and social media, where anytime a visitor from out of town would come see me here in LA, I would take them to the Warner Brothers tour. And if you've ever been on that tour, towards the end, they have an ADR station set up, actually with video of one of the go-to engineers that I've worked with many times at Warner Brothers, talking to the camera saying, this is the sound booth. We do ADR. Sometimes people have to replace their lines of dialogue. And they have very famous scenes from Warner Brothers movies. I always do the Harry Potter one where Ron and Harry are greeting each other on Christmas, opening presents.
Happy Christmas, Ron.
Happy Christmas, Ron.
So yeah, I would do it as Daffy. And about 2 years ago, it's, April's coming up. They have Acme Fools instead of April Fools.
Oh, okay.
And I did The Notebook.
I've been waiting for you for 7 years.
We did an episode, like a little scene from Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God.
Where they actually do talk about,
Are we talking about the anvils again?
they do cite Coyote and Roadrunner in that, like, small scene. We did Supernatural. We did, we kind of did our own, a spoof on every Harry Potter movie, every Lord of the Rings. We did it all, and I think that would be cool to see them doing, like,
to see them do Twilight, the worst acting.
Oh,
movie. I would love them to do with all that really hip, because I watch them and my daughter gives me a ton of crap for watching them, but I swear to God, I fall asleep because the soundtrack is so great, and none of that music, because they're all so edgy and interesting, that they're not on Spotify, and they're not on. You can't find these songs. You have to like go and buy their stuff. And I think that Acme in I forget what the name it is, in Oregon, like, I think we should do a Twilight series, and it should be like somebody is like a vampire and then Daffy is like Bella. I just think it would be hilarious.
that would be incredible. Maybe a series of like Twilight Zone shorts.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It would be so great. And if we didn't have the nod to Star Trek in Space Jam 2, Legacy, we kind of had that nod. That's what it looked like. We were in the cockpit of the Starship Enterprise. I'd love to see like an intergalactic, not a space alien, but sort of an intergalactic Star Wars kind of a thing.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I am going to thank you both so much. This has been a thrill for me. You have absolutely no idea. I've been listening to your voices for years and have loved these characters for as long as I can remember. And I wish you nothing but the best with the launch of this movie. It is so good.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Really,
Thank
truly,
you.
man. Thank you very much.
It's been an honor. Thank you so
I
much.
hope kids like it.
I think they will. How could they not? It's incredible.
You're awesome, man.
That's all, folks.
Take care.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.